Welcome to Space in Harmony, in Harmonia of Life. Many are the fears that paralyze us, but what are we really afraid of? Let's discover that there are really 7 fundamental fears. However, for those who accept to receive the gifts of life from the divine mind, the so-called additional soul, anointed with understanding in the tree of life, these 7 fears are really summarized in one: the fear of being what we really are in our true essence. But which are the 7 fears? First of all, the fear of false authorities that appear as a threat to us. And where does it come from? Since early childhood, humans are taught to hate, fear, and regard their older ones or educators as higher authorities, better than them. Educators who shout at them, criticize them, insult them, force them to say thank you when that must come from within spontaneously. In other words, kids are ridiculed before others, forced to feel silly, inferior, especially before those who proclaim themselves as authorities. False authorities, because in reality, a child's mind is purer and can not only learn faster, but also open up more easily to the divine love for truth. Notice how they ask many questions constantly. And their mind is also more open to the creative, spontaneous life that wants to be born to them. If you do not become like little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven, said Yeshua. And the most ironic thing is that the divine essence that wants to express its creative gifts through the child represents an authority that is far above the so-called adults and educators, whose methods of education are conditioned by the prevailing religion, politics, and Luciferic science that classify people with labels, putting them in mental boxes of death. And the repression of the divine essence is precisely what generates the second fear: the fear of being criticized, rejected, or not accepted in the family or society in general. And despite the fact that from early childhood many of us have felt with more intensity that fear of being rejected on countless occasions, now we must never forget that our true light being belongs to one divine family, where each one has a life mission as important as the mission of other members of the divine tree. And it is the vital purpose and mission what we must discover and remember in order to feel integrated into a wholeness greater and more real than this world of predators and psychopaths. And as beings of light on earth, we must remember that we came to help to bring light, even though many don't understand us and spit on our face, or even want to control us as if we were dogs. In the third place, we have the fear of not knowing, not having enough, not being good enough, precisely because we consider ourselves inferior or even unworthy. But isn't this a way of feeding the sense of lack and indignity we absorbed during childhood? If our true being is really a cell in the tree of life, it is an expression of the wholeness of being, so it doesn't lack any bit of loving truth and life, and there is nothing that we cannot overcome with this inner brilliance. We just have to reconnect in the tree of life and remember its divine mind paths. The level of our being attracts the experiences we live, and we can transcend. We are never given anything above our true possibilities. And not perceiving the brilliance and strength of our authentic being also generates the fear of failure. And is this not ignoring that the divine will is infallible and we should only open ourselves to its effectiveness? May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, said Master Yeshua. So we are not meant to ask for something we don't have, but rather open ourselves with humility to receive our gifts and command the expression of our fullness, giving the best of ourselves. Only when we do not give our best, we fall into the fifth fear, which is fear of losing family acceptance, money, or prestige in society if we do what our divine spark is asking us to do. Now, how are we going to lose when everything necessary has been given to us and is meant to be expressed? You were blessed with every blessing in the one anointed with full understanding. It was said in the non-falsified scripture. We have been given the capacity to be healed even by the real life of our authentic being. But ignoring this makes us feel weak and also fills us with fear of pain and illness. And no healing can begin if we do not assume the strength of our true light inside, a light which overcomes all pain. Pains that are nothing but negative memories that can be overcome with greater positive memories. Without understanding this, some have been able to cut off even a hand or an arm to escape death. In the mountains, there are many documented cases. So powerful is life when we feel it fully inside. And finally, we have the infamous and wrongly called fear of success. But I will tell you another truth. There is no such thing, because success can never be the problem. It is the acquired personality what fears, like a swine, to leave the comfort zone with shadows that are terrified by the light of our true essence. The false in us fears to let us be what we should be. The enemy is really within, not outside, as you can see. So, what should we be? Before Abraham was, I, Ena, said Joshua to the Pharisees in Aramaic language. We must be expressions of the divine name, the universal man or expressive body of the infinite being. And this name, as was fully demonstrated by Yeshua, is the love that opens space to the truth without falsehood, to the spontaneous creative life that unites everything within the calm of the soul. Recovering such name means to connect with our divine head, the mind of the Messiah, or the one anointed with understanding, if you wish. So, overcoming all fears consists in not taking the name I am in vain, the name of being in vain. This was also taught, since the name of being makes real everything it touches. If we feel I am weak, inferior, or lacking something, we will become weak, inferior, and lacking. If we feel I am an expression of love, truth, and life, without limits, consciously, we can only fear to damage that life in ourselves and others. Perhaps this is why the prophet said that fear or reverential respect of the verb, the divine name, is the beginning of wisdom. We read this in Proverbs 9, something that was misinterpreted as fear to some god. But now it is enough for us to understand that to be authentic means to stop fearing false authorities, to stop considering ourselves unworthy, to stop wanting to have or to be more than others. For we have everything and everyone is unique. To stop criticizing without foundations and stop hating everything that bothers our whimsy personality. In short, stop being mere homo animals, humus, going beyond the religious feelings that degrade us, overcoming the politics and sciences of the world that infuse so much terror, imposing themselves over the weak. There is a lot of that already, and each one of us decides if we make a difference or not, feeling I am full of conscious love to the truth, without falsehood, and serene life. Now, if you feel lost and are interested in discovering your true vocation and vital purpose on earth, overcoming fearful shadows and unraveling the limitations hidden behind your personal name, imposed socially from the day you were born, if you want to rediscover personal paths from the tree of life, the true divine family, you can contact me on the web of Vital Orientation. Below you have the links. Subscribe to the channel if you wish to receive weekly videos, and leave your comment if you wish. And never forget that only in Harmonia are we beings full of love to the truth of life in calm. See you next time.